everyone. Welcome to Saturday morning. Welcome to No Credentials Required, where you don't need a press pass to talk sports. We are proudly presented by Belly Up Sports. My name is Ryan McCarthy. I'm one of the hosts. To my right is a man who wanted to play for Team Italy in the World Baseball Classic, but they said he didn't eat enough pizza to qualify for the team. Dustin Henry. Dustin, how are we doing this morning?
I'm doing all right, but I'm still a little salty about that, to be honest with you, because they looked at my picture roll on my phone. It's me taking pictures of the pizzas that I make constantly. I eat a lot of pizza, and if you look at me, you can tell. It is one of my favorite things. I'm still on the quest for the perfect pizza dough. Pro tip for you out there, everybody. I found the combination of the 00 flour and bread flour works the best for my particular palate, but I'll keep experimenting out there so you don't have to. I'm fired up to talk baseball and all things with you and our special guest this morning, Ryan. How are you, sir?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you'll get the comments from the New York pizza guy saying that's not enough. It's
the
flour ratio.
It's the water.
It's the water. That's Jersey, though. That's a Jersey. Yeah. The water's a Jersey thing. No, I'm good. I'm ready to go. I got our guests waiting in the green room. We're going to talk about some baseball, talk about hockey. Got a lot to talk about today. But before that, we just want to remind you to please follow us on social media. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Twitch, YouTube. Just search for No Credentials Required. You can also find our other podcasts and written content at bellyupsports.com. On the podcast side, hit the subscribe button and listen wherever you find podcasts, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Spreaker, Amazon Music, iHeart, TuneIn, Pandora, and our host Podbean, Freshly Brewed Podcasts. Hit that notification bell on Twitter and on YouTube so you know when the show goes live, when you know special announcements go up, and you know when clips from the show also go up. On the podcast side, rate, review, comment. A 5-star rating will be very helpful. Leave a review where you can on platforms such as Apple Podcasts, our host Podbean, Podchaser, Good Pods. Also, if you're listening on Spotify, leave a comment. We'll go back and look and see if there's any comments. Also, if you're watching this show on replay on our YouTube channel, leave a comment below. Let us know what you think about the World Baseball Classic, about the Auston Matthews injury, which we're going to talk about today. And we're also a live show on Saturdays at 10 a.m. Eastern. Most Tuesdays at 6:30, although we'll be live this Monday with a special guest, hopefully. Hopefully his life is straightened out enough we can get him in the get him in the show. But we want you to interact with us. We want you to be there with us and interact with us during the show. And let's play a special tune to remind you to go in and leave some comments for us.
Saturday morning, feeling fine. It's time. Yes, it's chime time.
That's right. Before we bring in our guests, we're going to take our network mandated commercial break. When we come back, we'll bring in Brent from the 1420 Sports Podcast. We're going to talk about all things World Baseball Classic and hockey. So stay tuned and stand by for more No Credentials Required. This episode of No Credentials Required is brought to you by Invader Coffee. For the coffee lover who wants good, quality coffee with no bullshit and no filler, Invader Coffee is an ultra-premium, veteran-owned coffee company proudly delivering only the best coffee your hard-earned money can buy. They aim to only serve the highest quality, organic, air-roasted coffee beans sourced from free trade farms all over the world. They keep things simple. The best coffee at an affordable price in order to provide you with the value you deserve for your morning boost. 100% fair trade, 100% organic coffee beans, 100% air-roasted, 100% money-back guarantee. Visit invadercoffee.com, enter promo code BELLYUP at checkout, and receive 15% off your order. That's right, folks. I know I'm drinking a competitor today. I was in a hurry, but Invader Coffee, best coffee you'll ever find on the market. Our link's in the description. You can also, it helps our show a little bit. I gotta order some more coffee from Invader Coffee because I'm obviously out, and that gives me a nice afternoon boost as opposed to a morning boost. Also, it makes dang good cold brew. If you like to steep your cold brew overnight, makes a great cold brew. I highly recommend it. But yes, use our link in the description. It helps our show a little bit, but also helps you also save 15% off your order with promo code BELLYUP in chat. And I have looked, and it does ship to Canada, which is where our guest for this morning is from. He is host of the 1420 Sports Bar podcast, sports, beer, and a whole lot more. I think I got that tagline right. Brent Radlinski. Brent, how we doing this morning?
I'm doing pretty well, guys. How are you doing this morning?
Did I get that tagline right?
Well,
You were right on the money there. It's ingrained into my brain, but yeah, it's a good thing. It's fun to be here joining you guys, talk some baseball. It's only March 14th, and some meaningful baseball is being played, so it's always a lot of fun.
Right.
Yeah. And you understand the gravity of the situation more than Mark DeRosa, but that's okay. That's okay. Well, I'm going to talk about it. I have thoughts.
All right. Yeah, let's talk about that first and foremost. All right.
Yeah, I want to get your take on this, Dustin, because you see not the outcome of the game. You're like, holy, how the heck is this even happening? And then you hear the backstory a little bit. But yeah, it's wow. Holy.
Well, that's the thing. So I have to admit, I did not see the game live, and then I heard some of the hubbub around it. I have it secret, everybody. Production. There's no way I could watch the amount of games that I watched in real time. It would not be possible. So I've been using an invention from the olden times, DVR. I've been using that. I've been catching up, and so I went back and watched the game after, and you could tell, the explanation was that, I didn't know that we could be eliminated. He didn't know the rules. But if you go back and watch that game, and I get it, hindsight is 2020, but you could tell by the way he managed. He benched Bryce Harper for this game in favor of Paul Goldschmidt because he wanted to save Bryce Harper. He benched someone else. I have in my notes. I forget. But it was clear that they were looking past Italy. You could tell even with his moves, and they interviewed him during the game. And this was when they were already behind 3-0. And you know what he said? He goes, yeah, we just got to get the bats going. We got guys down the bullpen. Bednar, he's going to be good for us. And then Ken Rosenthal told him who else was in the bullpen. Now, I get it. You're on live TV. You're trying to manage a game. You might not, offhand be able to remember everybody that's in the bullpen warming up for you. But you could tell, first of all, he waited to pull Nolan McLean, who looked good starting out. He struck out the side, so I'm thinking, okay, we're gonna be all right here. But then the wheels started to fall off. If it were me, and I'm not a baseball manager, and Mark DeRosa, he knows more about baseball than I'll ever know, but I would have pulled him in the third inning.
You sure about that?
Especially his pitch count was the pitch limit for the WBC 65. The guy was at like 52. Why leave him in there? Because in this game, the U.S. had walked 2 batters total in all their previous games. They walked 3 already in this game at the point that I'm talking about. So he was clearly something wasn't right, and he didn't get pulled. And DeRosa goes, "Oh, we just got to get the bats going. I think our offense is good enough that we're just gonna eventually overwhelm you throughout 9 innings." That did not happen. He keeps saying, "Oh, we're waiting for the offense to explode." And it has not exploded in any game, I would argue, with the exception of Brazil. And I must offer my apologies to Team Italy, because Team Italy was not a team that they should have looked past. They had 22 players on their roster with MLB experience. Vinny Pasquantino, he's the captain of this team. They had Kyle Teal. They have Dominic Canzone, the designated hitter for the Mariners. Jack Cagliano's on this team. There was John Birdie. He can steal some bases. He can get after it. And Francisco Cervelli's the manager. They also brought Jorge Posada on. So there's a there's a surplus of catchers on that team. No surprise, though. But Jorge, apparently they asked him, "Hey, why are you on Team Italy?" He's like, "I like pasta, man." So there we go. But yeah, Pasquantino was recruiting people. He's the captain for this team. But it was clear that that Mark DeRosa was looking past this team. And Bryce Harper was not happy about being benched. And they mentioned that in the broadcast. It's like, why are you resting me? This is Bregman also. Bregman was the other person that he benched. You benched 2 of your best hitters. And then what makes it worse is that you could tell that all of a sudden he goes, I think I think we're going to lose this game. He brought Bryce Harper in as a pinch hitter because the U.S. tried to rally. They did get 5 runs, but by then it was way too late. And it just, you could tell early in the game, he's like, we're going to, Italy might, they got the jump on us a little bit, but they're just going to drop off. We're just going to win. That's not how it works, especially when you got teams in the WBC like Great Britain and Czechia trying to play small ball, playing aggressive, trying to win because they know they're outmatched. DeRosa's just sitting there like, oh, we can bench 2 of our best players and we'll be fine because we don't need to worry about Italy. You should have worried about Italy. It was and you could tell it got to them. The U.S., a lot of Italy's runs came with 2 outs. Because the U.S. couldn't close out the innings. They made errors. There was a low throw from Keller trying to field a comebacker. He threw it into the outfield, and that was on the second out. That should have been a double play. They should have been out of the inning. Would have been over. But stuff like that kept happening. You could see, and Marcy gets to third. In another inning, I think it was, I can't remember what inning, but he got to third because he was stealing second, and then there was an E2. So it was just the U.S. as a whole. They didn't play well in this game, but I think a lot of the fault is on DeRosa. I know people have been piling on, but some of these decisions he made. And Italy, they had 8 home runs in 3 games. So, I mean, they can hit. So I just don't understand it. It was crazy. He was much too relaxed and didn't understand the stakes clearly with what we found out after the game.
Brent, you got something to say?
Yeah, I think like even though the U.S. is into the semifinals, I think that they've been. I agree with you, Dustin. They've been underwhelming.
Yes,
they're there, but they haven't. There hasn't been this WBC. It's been fun since its inception. I think 2009 was the first time around, and it's a fun, emotion-filled tournament. Every country's going for it. The Americans just seem to be kind of, I don't want to say going through the motions, but they kind of are, and their talent's getting them through so far. But now you're partnering with the big dogs right now, and I think they're going to get a rude awakening tomorrow night when they face the Dominican, because that Dominican team is just dummying everybody. And
they wanted us too. You
got Julio Rodriguez hitting 7th. That team's good, right? So, and I mean, every team's got it. And even last night with the Canadian team, I knew the Canadians weren't going to win, but it was 5-3, and they had a chance with bases loaded. And Bednar came in, and this could happen. But they just seem to be underwhelming, and I don't know what it is. You can kind of say maybe it's just the way the in and out of the roster. I think they had the Scooble thing. I don't say it was just distraction, but they're talking about who's not there a lot more than who's there. It's just an oddly constructed team. It's weird. And to have DeRosa as a TV show host as your managers, I don't know if that was the best decision. They're fine. They're in this, they're in the semis, everywhere you want to be, but they've been underwhelming. And tomorrow's going to be tough. And the other teams are just showing so much more emotion, and which baseball isn't really an emotion-filled game the way it's played, but the way these other teams are like the Latin American countries, it's just a different beast. This World Baseball Classic, and just the U.S. just hasn't been great. That game could have went either way last night, and it was a one hit away, and all of a sudden it's a tie ball game, and the U.S. on the outside looking in. Yeah, it's been interesting, but I just don't think the U.S. They could prove me wrong tomorrow night, but it hasn't been great for them so far.
Yeah. There's some comments in the comments section from some of our cred heads here. James from New Jersey saying, "Good morning, gents. The NHL run-in is fun so far." We'll get to the NHL in just a moment, James. He also says DeRosa's goof is why you have a catcher as a manager. Yeah, catchers make the best managers. I don't say that as a former catcher myself, but just look. I mean, the catcher brethren, come on.
In hockey, goalies make the best coaches afterwards because they see the whole thing, and catchers, it's the exact same thing. I agree completely there. Yeah.
Yep. See, you and I think alike, Brent. Come on. Dan from Time to BS saying, "Morning, lads, especially our Canadian lad over yonder. Currently moving and finishing up my vows for my wedding tomorrow. Pumped and making time for the Department of No Creds. Cheers to you, Dan.
Man.
Congratulations. Where was our invite, by the way? We could have drove down from upstate. Come on." I'm just kidding. Maybe he did share in our Discord a picture of his office setup. He's got an L-shaped desk. He's got a couple monitors, and he's got a lawn chair.
Nice.
That screams Bachelor.
He's making it work over there. Dan's got to be comfortable. He does a lot for shows that he runs.
He does. We appreciate him. We appreciate his talents and his and such at Belly Up Sports. So yeah, we'll get him back on for a show in the spring for sure. Kevin from your cohort from Seahawks Session saying, I think you're selling yourself short, Dustin. You know baseball. Oh, somebody's trying to get himself back on the show.
Thank you, Kev. Thank you, Kev. I appreciate it. Always complimentary. But yeah, and I'm looking forward to getting back to podcasting with you both. But I think Dan's soon-to-be wife would be mad if he was like, hey, hold on. I know it's our wedding weekend, but I got to discuss the Seahawks' latest moves.
Babe, I know our vows are important, but I got to discuss Mofe going to the Bengals with my boys.
Yeah.
Not a time to be saying but I don't think.
Dan also saying, man, speaking about Jorge Posada, man's guy's priority straight. He's there for the Linguini. That's for sure. Hey, Cacio Pepe. It's good stuff, man. And
apparently, Pasquantino was sending people boxed tank tops as the unofficial invite to Team Italy.
Get the fist pump going like Jersey Shore. Kevin saying, one thing's for sure, the Dominicans know baseball. Absolutely. And Dan being very complimentary of his bride-to-be, saying, she kicked my rear end sideways, and she's Greek. She scares me sometimes.
My wife is also Greek, Dan, so I know exactly what you're talking about.
Don't get on their bad side. All right. Let's talk about the quarterfinal of the World Baseball Classic. We'll start with the first game. That was yesterday afternoon. Late yesterday afternoon, the Dominican Republic took only 7 innings for them to beat Korea 10-0. Fernando Tatis Jr. was 2 for 2 with 2 RBIs. Christopher Sanchez pitched a gem of a game, 5 innings pitched, 8 Ks, 2 hits allowed. And Austin Wells, yes, you read that right. Austin Wells playing for the Dominican Republic, and I'll explain why in just a moment.
Okay.
He walked it off in the 7th inning with a 3-run absolute shot to left field to basically walk it off in this quarterfinal. For Korea, and this is South Korea, I just want to make that distinction. The Republic of Korea, not a great showing. Jahmai Jones, 1 for 3. Hyunjin Ryu, 1 2/3 innings pitched, 3 hits, 3 earned runs. And the guy who's had himself a great World Baseball Classic up to this point, Bo Jung Moon, 0 for 3. He was hitting, I believe at one point he was hitting near 500 for the entire World Baseball Classic. He had himself a great World Baseball Classic. Unfortunately for Korea, it had to end here last night by the hands of the Dominican Republic. And let's talk about this Dominican Republic team. Brent, you mentioned this a couple in our last segment. We're talking about Mark DeRosa. Dustin and I talked about the 4 teams who could go to the final or the semifinals. We said it would be Dominican Republic, Japan, United States, and Puerto Rico. So far, we're 2 for 2. But Dominican Republic, to put it in hockey terms, this team's a wagon. This team is stacked not only with great hitting, but also awesome pitching.
It shows the how worldwide this sport actually is. Like you look at the Dominican, you got Vladdy, which is weird because Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is actually a Canadian citizen because his dad was actually born in Montreal, but he's so it would have been kind of helpful last night getting an at bat for Canada. But but this to Tatis Jr. leading things off and the talent this team has, and they can hit and they can pitch. And Severino, I don't know what you're going to get out of him, the ex-Yankee tomorrow night, but this Dominican team is talented and they're playing with emotion that you haven't seen before, and they got a swagger that's going to be that you can't teach. I don't think that's something that is coming unnaturally. It's there. It's not some dressing room speech by whoever trying to get the guys motivated. They're just a really good baseball club, top to bottom, and they're not going to make any mistakes. They're doing things, and whatever happened to Vladimir Guerrero Jr. last, I think in September, when the Jays went on that run into the playoffs, almost won themselves a World Series. He's carrying that on to this Dominican team. He's really turned into a leader on baseball team, and it's fun to watch. This Dominican team, I don't see the Americans beating them tomorrow night, but you never know, because Skeens is going for the U.S. and but the buts all the time. You only get X amount of innings because of the pitch counts and everything. That's the one thing I don't like about the World Baseball Classic, but they can hit, and they put up 10 runs in a quarter. That's not a mistake. That's no matter who you're playing. You put up 10 runs in a baseball game with some really good pitching. That means you can hit a little bit.
Yeah, Dustin. I think Dustin, you said you watched most of this game.
No, I missed this game.
You're just catching up.
Yeah, this was the one that I missed, but I mean, we talked about it. Their lineup, I mean, it's ridiculous. Ketel Marte, Junior Caminero, Soto, Machado, Fernando Tatis, Perdomo. Is this an all-star team? Yes. Is it also the Dominican Republic team? Yes. This is Mark DeRosa talks about our offense is going to explode. This is a team that can do it. So I agree with you, Brent. I think the U.S. big trouble tomorrow. Big trouble, in spite of the fact, thank you, Paul Skeens, for not going back to the Pirates. But the thing is, this team, I mean, Korea, let's talk about the team that they beat. Ryan asked me to pick a dark horse team at the beginning of this thing, and I picked Mexico, and I picked Korea too, because they were hitting, going into this game. Moon was leading everybody at one point in RBI for the World Baseball Classic. This was not a slouch of a team that they just beat, and they didn't just beat them; they dominated them. I mean, that's how good this team is. They are the most complete team, I would argue. I think Mexico was also a very complete team as well. But I would feel like this. I mean, O'Neal Cruz is on this team. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous to see the talent that they have. And you nailed it, Brent. They're playing with a swagger and a confidence, but they're also still having fun. That's the perfect. There are teams that are having a lot of fun, and you could tell they're having fun, but they're not really. They're happy to be there. They're not expecting themselves to beat some teams, and as a result, they're playing loose. Now, these guys know that they can beat anybody, but they're also having fun. The camaraderie on this team, it's obvious when you see them take the field. Everybody, they got their handshakes. I love some of the home run rituals in the World Baseball Classic. My personal favorite is probably the espresso machine for Team Italy. That one's pretty good. And apparently they had to recalibrate it because it was too hot. They were burning people. But I mean, you could just tell this team loves playing together. They're proud to play for their country. They understand the stakes, but they're also playing relaxed. This is a killer combination. And you mentioned it. Us as Yankee fans, we have been talking about the potential for Severino. It seems like forever, and he's far from young anymore. But you always catch yourself saying, if he can just put it together, he's got the talent. But the thing is, this team has enough. They could overcome, even if he completely implodes tomorrow, it's not going to be a problem because no lead is safe when you're talking about the Dominican Republic. It's ridiculous. They had a bases loaded in their game against Israel. They had a bases loaded single. A bases loaded, and it cleared it because they had some speed on the base paths too. This team's ridiculous. They're going to win the whole thing, in my opinion.
Yeah, it took us 23 minutes to bring up O'Neal Cruz, and we barely brought up Juan Soto. So you're like, oh yeah, with this superstar after superstar, and no, they're fun to watch. And like you talked, Dustin, about the fun that they're having, the rituals, and it kind of spits in the face the old school baseball guys who just run around the base like you've done it before, and on it goes. But it's fun, and that's what baseball it really needs compared to what it was even 10 years ago, where that was a spit in the face until the Bautista home run in 2015. How that kind of changed everything. That bat flip heard around the world. How it's just different. And baseball, I think baseball needs this because that's just what it sells the game a lot more. It's still more TikTok and stuff like that sells the game of baseball than the old school guys and the talking about Pete Rose and Yogi Berra and the nostalgia, which I still like watching that stuff for sure. But the World Baseball Classic is I think it's everything that baseball needs to go on to the next generation of viewers. I think it's doing a fantastic job.
Yeah, if they could only lift the blackout restrictions, it was supposed to grow the game, right? I mean, this is how you grow the game. Make it accessible to everyone.
Get eyeballs on it. Again, and this is the best way. Like it's the best way to get the best people in the world watching it, and it's going to get people watching the best players in the world, and I'll give them a chance to watch it. I mean, there's games that are on at 3 a.m, so you can't watch them all. But with the magic of DVR, Dustin, you call it taping it still though? You still taping it?
Yeah, sometimes I'll say I tape the game
with my wife. Can you tape this for me?
Yeah.
No, I can't. We can DVR. Yeah. So
we can, or some call in Canada PVR.
PVR.
I've heard that one. Personal video recorder, I think it's called.
Yeah, it's weird.
But that's you're about to say something.
I think I was just laughing. I was going to agree. When I was younger, my grandma would always she could never figure out how to fix the clock on her VCR. It would always be flashing 12. You always had to help grandma fix it. But I forget who it was. It was either from a movie or a show or something. He said, what are these people with the flashing clock on their VCR? Don't they know to just put a piece of tape over it? I forget where that's from. That always got me.
So if you're wondering why Austin Wells is playing for the Dominican Republic,
I am wondering.
Yeah, me too.
Yes, I'm sure this is the world's biggest mystery. His mom is Dominican.
Okay. All right.
Just that easy.
Just that easy. Yeah. That's all you need to do is just have some heritage somewhere. Like I could play, I've got Dutch heritage, so I could play for the Netherlands. Dustin, you could probably play for Great Britain.
Yeah. I could play for mostly on my dad's side. If they ever made it, Scotland or Ireland, I could get in there. Mom's side, I got a little bit more. I could play for the Netherlands too, Ryan, in Germany as well, if they ever, made it in there. But
yeah, it's that easy. You just need for baseball. You just need to have a heritage somewhere. It's like, oh, you can play for them.
Yeah, but still, the one that still confounds me because it was Shea Whitcomb. Because they made it sound like in the broadcast that he was just like, hey, I know I'm not going to make the American team. And he reached out to a former player who had played for Korea. And he's like, hey, would you put in a good word for me? And he was like, yeah. So, but he must have some heritage somewhere. Because I thought that was a thing. Like you had to have heritage, you couldn't just sign on, so to speak.
Yeah. There was one player who has actually played for the United States and Israel. Ian Kinsler played for the United States in the World Baseball Classic. He also played for Israel in the 2021 Olympics, and he served as manager for the 2023 team. So there was I was looking for some other player who played for the DR, then he played for the United States, then he played for Israel. It's like, where's those eligibility rules somewhere?
Yeah.
Crazy. All right, well, we got to get to the other World Baseball Classic quarterfinal that happened last night. Guys, this is the first time I've actually sat and watched a baseball game for the World Baseball Classic this World Baseball Classic. I watched it last night. The United States defeated Canada 5-3. Logan Webb pitched a pretty solid game. 4 2/3 innings, 4 hits, no runs, 5K. Bryce Terang, 2 for 3 with an RBI. Pete Crow Armstrong, PCA, 2 for 4 with an RBI. For Canada, Bo Naylor, 2 for 4 with a 2-run home run. Tyler Black, 2 for 4 with an RBI. And I had to mention this because it's a great nickname. Matt Tugboat Wilkinson, 2 innings pitched, 2 Ks, 2 walks, including a huge strikeout of Bryce Harper in the 9th inning.
they have to nickname another pitcher Earthquake, and then they can repair the natural disaster. Come on.
Yes.
I actually know Matt Tugboat there. He used to pitch for the Okotoks Dogs in the league that I'm involved in, and he's been a pitcher. Like he doesn't look the most athletic, but he's a pitcher, not a thrower. He's only throwing 92, 93, which is hard, but not the 98, 99 people are so used to. And the kid's good. And you're going to see him in the major leagues real soon. I think he's only 23 years old, and he actually played for Canada in the Little League World Series 10, 12 years ago. So he's been a pitcher for a long time, and he's well known across Western Canada. Anyways, now he's the entire baseball world starting to notice old Tuggy. He's a real good kid, and he's something else. He's very enthusiastic when he's out in the mound. I remember the first time I heard his name, they were calling him Tugboat, and I was actually umpiring the game. I was like, "You call him Tugboat?" They go, "Yeah, that's what they call him." I don't know. It's okay, good enough. Good enough. Yeah. So he's a real good, yeah. He's a solid pitcher, and he came in last night and facing some of the best baseball's got, and he mowed him down. It was a really great ball game last night. It's just the team with more talent won. One error basically cost Canada that game last night. I think it was in the sixth, and that changed the whole game. Like we were talking earlier, one hit with the bases loaded and 2-1, none out at one point, and they just couldn't push anything across. Great ball game. I didn't see any emotion, even from the starting pitcher. He came off and he was like, "Yeah, it was fun." That was good. Yeah. Okay. And Rosenthal asking the cookie cutter questions when he came off, and they just don't seem to see the enormity of the thing. Maybe it's just I'm reading too deep into it, but I just don't see it.
I'm just surprised that Rosenthal didn't shove a cameraman after the interview. I don't know if you ever saw that footage.
Yeah, he's starting to look more and more unlikable for some reason. I don't know what it is. It was just. But.
Yeah,
the bow ties don't work anymore, man. Come on, you gotta grow up.
They don't, and the only person who could pull off the crazy suits and the bow ties and all that is Craig Sager. He's the only one that could ever do it. He's the only one that could ever do it. But this game, you're right, and the bottom of the lineup was the one is what saved the U.S. in this game, because Pete Crow Armstrong, Bryce Terang, they're the ones that were performing. Meanwhile, it was a holdover. It was kind of a holdover from the game against Team Italy. The 3 through 6 hitters were 1 for 12 combined in that game. Who are the 3 through 6 hitters? That's Judge, that's Schwarber, that's Roman Anthony, that's Will Smith. Now, Roman Anthony did have a big hit in this game, if I remember. I might be confusing my games because sometimes I watch them back to back to back like that, and you kind of got to keep my notes straight here. But yeah, this was a different. The USA. One reason why I think they are in trouble. They struggle with runners in scoring position. This game, they did not. They were much better than they've been, but it's still the top of that lineup is not performing. It is the bottom of the lineup that is saving this team right now. Bryce Terang has had an enormous World Baseball Classic, I think. But yeah, this game, you were saying it, and was the error you were thinking about when they overthrew first base. Toro
overthrew first base.
Yeah, that was the difference. I agree with you completely.
I think that DeRosa's relying on talent too much. I mean, it's good to have, like you never want, but they just don't. And it just doesn't have a feel that they're in it to, like, they want to win, but it just doesn't have that international competition. Like I didn't want to bring up the hockey game a few weeks ago, but I will. Like those guys, just like the American hockey team, just had a different emotion. The Olympics and the World Baseball Classic are different things, but it's best on best, and so it just doesn't have the same thing. And I know they're going back to their club teams and they're getting ready for the season, but it just doesn't seem to have that. The flow, I don't know. It's just an odd feeling.
It seems like they're not having fun out there.
Bednar, when he had that big strikeout, to end the seventh with two runners in scoring position, he had that emotion. He showed that emotion. He's in the commentator. I'm trying to remember who it was. It was wasn't Joe Davis. It was somebody else. I forgot who does the lead commentary for Fox Baseball. I know John Smoltz is the color commentator, but he says, yeah, Bednar doesn't really show too much emotion, but I have to imagine that he'll show a lot of emotion if he gets out of this. And he did. And he did. To his credit, he did. But my concern, and this is the first time I've watched, like I said, this is the first time I've watched a World Baseball Classic game all series long. The United States did not have a hit after the 6th inning.
Yeah.
They walked to get men's on base. That's very concerning, especially for a lineup with, you have Bobby Witt Jr. leading off, Bryce Harper hitting second, Judge hitting third, and Schwarber hitting DH. Now, I got to say this for Schwarber's hit that kind of dribbled down the third baseline. It reminded me of when I used to play slow pitch softball and I get a full swing bunt. I was like, I feel seen. I feel seen. But that inning, when Toro overthrew what would have been a sure out to end the inning, that was the game maker. And then my other concern, so that's my first concern with the United States, is that this offense is starting to dry up. Like you talked about the Italy game, Dustin, and how the bats just couldn't get going until the later innings in the game. Their offense dried up after the 6th inning because they couldn't buy a hit. They got walks, they got men on base, but they just couldn't bring those men in.
It's not like they were facing Cy Young and Nolan Ryan. It's like it's Adam Macko and Matt and Tugboat, which I'm not disparaging Tugboat, but it's not like they're facing world beaters here.
Yeah,
like these guys are going to be major leaguers, but these guys are supposed to be the top of the game, and not being able to hit off a couple of minor leaguers right now. That's concerning to me.
Yeah,
I mean, hitting's hard. Hitting's hard.
Yes.
It's very hard, and if you fail 7 out of 10 times, you're going to the Hall of Fame. But shout out Paul Molitor, right? Like it's just one of those. That's got to be concerning for American fans to be watching that and go, we're not getting hits off of these guys. What happens when we face top notch guys?
Right.
Yeah,
right.
Hitting's hard. But I'm not. But
yeah, I'm going to bring it back to the U.S. semifinal against Slovakia. Like you were waiting. For me, I was waiting for the dam to burst. The dam burst in the second period. They got 5 goals in that period. They had 3 goals in that period. They're up 5-0 at the end of 2. They were up 5-0 in this game at the end of 6. I'm thinking to myself, all right, you just need to break out. They need to break out inning. I was hoping they would at least try to meet the threshold where basically the Mercer rule came in, like the DR.
I thought I was getting to that point. I did.
I was waiting for the offense to just burst, and unfortunately, it dried up. And they had to be saved by the bullpen, which I have another concern about the bullpen, because if you look at the box, I watched that game. Keller, he got the hold, but Spire allowed the 2-run shot to Bo Naylor to bring it within 2 runs, and I'm sitting there going, this is bad. This is bad. Yeah. But my anxiety went up a little bit after Bednar not Bednar, but Raleigh. Cal Raleigh had a pass ball. He had
happens.
1,000 pitches. He had over 1,000 pitches thrown him last year. Not one pass ball.
Yeah.
And he just pass ball, 2-minute scoring position. And Bednar thankfully Bednar got out of it. But if Bednar couldn't get out of it, there was going to be, and if the U.S. had lost that game, we'd be talking about a much different story today.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. And Ryan, you watch this game. We all watch this game. I did it with the sound on mute. I will confess, I was gaming with friends as I was watching as well. But the thing is, like, I think the pressure has gotten to them. I think their expectations, the weight of it, and they just seem to be playing nervous. It's like the great Seahawks meme you made for me earlier. They're smiling through it, but they're nervous. They're nervous, and they just seem to be, I don't know, they're not completely focusing on the small things that help you win games, because it just seems like they all have adopted DeRosa's outlook of eventually we'll get there. Eventually we'll get there.
Eventually loses you games.
Yeah, this is a short tournament. This is not, this is not a 3-game set followed by a doubleheader. It's not April in the regular season. This is on the world stage here.
It's a knockout stage.
That's what I'm thinking. Like, Dustin, I'm glad you brought that up. Like baseball, but a lot of these guys play so many games that are non-consequential. Like that just don't matter. Like you got Bobby Witt Jr. hasn't played a game that's mattered in his career. Like he gets paid unbelievable amounts of money, and you want to win, and you give it the good old college try. But he knows going into this season, Kansas State's going to lose 100 games or 80 or whatever it might be. So to have to turn it on in March might be a bit tough for some of these guys when maybe they don't see the enormity that other like the Dominicans when we're crowning them champions, and Japan, we forget about them. But their countries are really, really behind this thing, and because people are still getting over the football hangover in the States, and it's just not the thing. It's not the same gravitational pull, I guess, that it has, and the Olympics are a bigger thing. So like the hockey was a huge win for you guys, but baseball's kind of a secondary international event. It's not really thought of it the same way. And now when it's time to turn it on, it might be a bit tough. That's just an observation, but I think you're right. I think you're right. And but with so many other nations just surpassing us, I mean, it's hard to get, and plus with baseball being such a long season, but with this tournament, it's not. You had the pool play, which you get to play every single day, and all of a sudden it just puts things on pause, and now you got to reset. It just doesn't seem like you were saying, Brent. It just doesn't seem like this team has that get up charge. Maybe tomorrow when they play the. They better get after it early, or else
it
could be over early, especially with the 10-run rule in effect. It could be see you later.
Right. Yeah, you don't want that to happen, especially in your home ballpark. It's going to be split 50-50 between Dominican fans and American fans tomorrow night in Miami. So James in the comment section saying, now the Theodore Tugboat song is stuck in my head. I don't know who that is.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Yeah, must be a generational thing. He also says complacency is a hell of a drug. Absolutely. That's what I was thinking too. I was like, this team, looking at the dugout last night during the game, it's just kind of business as usual, but also could also seem like they're complacent, like they're kind of in spring training mode right now. But no, they can't be in spring training mode when the World Baseball Classic Championship's on the line. He also says England expects in soccer, America expects in baseball. Yeah, more or less, I would say. Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, but I think the gap is closing in baseball. It's not like basketball, which the gap is closing there too. But yeah, I
have to push back on you. I think the gap has been closed and surpassed, especially with certain nations
in baseball.
Like Japan, in baseball, especially Japan, Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico. I mean, even Puerto Rico. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see tomorrow night what happens, and also this afternoon, because we got the other quarterfinal games that are going on. All right, before we get out of here, we got to talk about the season-ending injury we found out last night after Thursday's game between the Ducks and the Maple Leafs. Found out that Auston Matthews is going to be out for the remainder of the regular season after a knee-on-knee collision with Ducks defenseman Radko Gudas. He sustained a grade 3 MCL tear and also damage to his quadriceps muscle. Oh, yikes. Now, I've got 2 questions, Brent. I know you are a Maple Leafs fan, an enthusiast. I got 2 questions for you. And we talked about this a little bit in the green room. Is this injury, I don't want to say a blessing in disguise, but is it a blessing in disguise? And we found out that Radko Gudas only got a 5-game suspension for the knee-on-knee hit because it's the maximum you get now under the CBA. Was that hit dirty? I believe it is. And did he deserve 5 games, or did he deserve more?
I think he deserved more. This guy's a known felon, I guess you could say, across the league. I think he deserved more, not because of who it was, but it just when you do stuff like that, these are career enders. You never know. Like there's definitely, when there's structural damage and the crime shouldn't fit the punishment, but there should be something that's more set in stone for this knee on knee stuff, because you can't, like, if a guy swings his stick and hits him across the head, he's going to get and one guy might not bleed, hits him in the helmet. So what's a more violent thing? But I do think that he should have got a lot more. And it just should he get as many games and the whole season? I don't know, but maybe a 20 gamer, then he won't be doing that anymore. I think that's the way you got to do it. And as far as blessing in disguise, yeah, it is. Since the Olympics and even beforehand, the Auston Matthews hasn't looked interested at all in even playing, and the Leafs have fallen off. They won the other night. They won 5-3 or 6-4, whatever it was, but they lost 7 in a row to that point, and just haven't been interested. And they've fallen out of the playoff hunt, and they're not making the playoffs after a nice long run. They're just not good enough, and I think the Leafs are kind of at that stage where a guy gets hurt. They should have found an injury prior to this because I think Matthews has looked hurt. He's been playing without any kind of jump in his game. And the Leafs should have found a way to say he had a bad back, because he can't really put any kind of medical proof against that. Say, my back's sore, I can't play. Okay, sit out the rest of the season. Whatever is ailing you, let's see what we got. Let's bottom out completely and see what kind of draft pick we can get, because this team isn't doing anything. I said it in the offseason when Marner went to Vegas. Everybody's happy. Well, we don't need Marner. Well, who's going to get 120 points for you? Who's going to play? Who's going to play on the power play with Matthews? Like, it's 120 points is hard to walk away from the National Hockey League. You don't just replace that, and the Leafs didn't. I think the Leafs are at this point right now that if anybody scores a goal, bench him. If the goalie makes a save, send him back to the minors. Don't win any more games. Like, it's at that point where it's a complete retooling of the organization. See what you got. I would maybe replace the coach right now. Just see what you got and do something different, because they're a team in disarray right now, and they're just not flat out good enough. And winning's hard. I've said it in my show 1,000 times, said it on your guys' show 1,000 times. It's hard, and they've proven that this group just doesn't got it, and it's the way it is. And having Matthews out, they should have just found a way to do it beforehand. That's my belief. And now hopefully his knee can come back. I still think that he doesn't want to be there. There's going to be I think there's got to be a come to Jesus meeting with Matthews and with the Leafs management in the offseason. Say, okay, we're rebuilding. Do you want to stick around for this? Because we're 2 to 3 years away from making the playoffs, let alone winning anything. It's the same as Dustin, probably the same as the Oilers are going to have a long talk in a couple of years with McDavid. Of course, they want him to stay, but what are they doing with their goaltending situation? Which is awful.
Oh, what's a mess.
It's bad, and it's
such a mess.
Like everybody was crying. We talked about it last time I was on with you, but everybody's crying for Skinner to go. He was the whipping boy around here, but that was the worst trade I've ever seen. They had that Jari was he put on waivers a year and a half ago. And then the Oilers say, well, we got to make a deal because the public's crying for it. So the only dance partner they had was trying to get rid of a guy. And where are they now?
Well, that's, and I wanted to bring up 2 crazy stats that I saw in relation, since you brought the Oilers up, and one related to the Leafs, which it blew my mind. The first one, though, the Oilers goaltending over 12 games. You want to know how many goals Edmonton allowed? 58. 58 goals over 12 games. You cannot win with that.
Not a chance.
The other stat, and obviously it's been broken, but I saw this on social media. I did not verify it. It was on a Twitter account, but I just apparently at some point it was either early this week. I saw a stat that the Seattle Seahawks had won a game more recently than the Toronto Maple Leafs.
I think I might have posted that meme in our Discord.
I was like, that is insane to me. Yeah. That, because we were a month removed from the Super Bowl at that point. I think I saw that on maybe March 9th or a little after. I'm thinking to myself, my goodness, I knew things were bad in Toronto, but I did not realize it was to that degree. So I'm with you. They gotta blow it up. blow it up, and they got to figure something out.
Yeah.
You know, and everybody was talking about like the trade deadline came and went last week, and everybody said, well, they didn't do anything. Well, if you don't have anything to give, like if you're not any good, like if you're not winning any games, if you're not scoring goals, if you're not doing this, why would anybody want your junk? So it's what are you going to do? And then they have no draft picks on the shelf because they went for it and didn't get anywhere. They went 2 rounds in this miraculous year in this golden era that's Leafs hockey. I'm getting revved up here at 8:51 in the morning, but this golden era that they were supposed to have, they won 2 rounds. So what did they do? Like, what did this group do? Nothing. Like nothing. Yeah. So. I don't know. It's crazy. Like it took like we're up your guys' part of the world there with the Buffalo Sabres, 14 years between playoff appearances, and that team's a wagon right now. Yeah. That team's fantastic right now.
It makes me sad because they're gonna get to the playoffs before the New York Jets do.
Yeah, that's
But I agree. The Sabres just came out of nowhere. We actually talked about that game on Tuesday. But
unreal.
Lightning Sabres game that had 10 fighting majors. Buffalo went 4 for 7 on the power play, 15 combined goals. Like, that's fun hockey. This is not fun hockey.
Like, there's got to be some intellectual honesty with like management and coaches and players and fan bases and talk radio hosts and podcasters saying we're just not good enough. If you watch these other teams and go, we're not even close to that. Like, we're not even close to the Buffaloes and the Tampas of the world. Like, we're just not. No. And to include Buffalo in this conversation is odd because we haven't talked about that in how many years. But there's got to be like, we're just not close enough. Like, we're just not. And that's what Leafs hockey is right now.
And I have some couple things here. So Auston Matthews' agent came out last night, calls the 5-game suspension given to Radko Gudas, who is, by the way, a repeat offender.
Yeah.
He called it laughable and preposterous. So when he was asked for comment, this is what he said, and I quote, he says, "In light of the obvious severity of the play, I am very disappointed and shocked that the league would allow such a ruling. A phone hearing and 5 games is just laughable and preposterous. While the hearing process is prefixed in our CBA that there was no further discipline is a reckless and ridiculous position for player safety. This decision results in a further loss of confidence in the disciplinary process for all players. Players and fans deserve better. This made me laugh. The player safety department should be suspended." I agree. There needs to be some sort of reform. And I get having a 5-game maximum suspension as part of the CBA. But looking back at the biggest suspensions in history, Rafi Torres got half a season for knocking out Jacob Silfverberg back in the day.
That might have been light, that suspension. Holy, I remember that. Wow.
Yeah, he got 41 games suspension for that. And Radko Gudas is, again, he's a repeat offender. The last suspension I could see, according to Google AI, and again, the Google AI is not exactly the most reliable, it was February 2019. He got suspended 2 games. So if the CBA is not taking into account the fact that he's been a repeat offender and the last major offense was in 2019, okay, great. But like, we saw what happened in the Olympics with Sidney Crosby and how that impacted Team Canada. I hate to bring it up again, Brent, but
no, you don't.
No. You're right, I don't. But you have to see, you have to look at the player history. He's like, yeah, he's been in somewhat good behavior since 2019. I don't know if that was indeed the last suspension, but there has to be some overview, some reform in the system, where you can't have a player make a run at a player who is, for better for worse, one of the most marketable players in the league because he scores a lot. In Auston Matthews, he's also one of the best American players playing in the entire NHL. Yeah.
If this happened a year ago when the Leafs were looking like they're going to do something, they tricked me last year too. But if this happened a year ago today, and it was one of the Leafs are flying on it goes. 5 games, okay, so now the Leaf season is over. Or if this happened to Auston Matthews, if this happened to Connor McDavid tomorrow, okay, what are we doing? So who's the CBA protecting? Because the NHL needs its stars.
It does.
Nobody pays money to see Radko Gudas play hockey. Nobody.
Yeah.
right? So the league's got to protect its stars because it's still a struggling market throughout the United States. And if you're losing your top guys, and that's knocking out X amount of guys that are around the league, the PA's got to do a better job of protecting its stars. There's Radko Gudas is everywhere. There's only X amount of guys who score goals like he's not having an off season, obviously Matthews, but you got to protect your stars, and by giving them a 5-gamer, that's nothing. It's a vacation. These guys have all enough money. I got 5 games. Oh well. What's 5 games? A week and a half? Nothing.
Practically, yeah. Especially this season with the sprint we've had in the first half and the second half.
It makes zero sense how the league just trips on themselves when it comes to stuff, and the Department of Player Safety being held up by George Peros is kind of a oxymoron, because he was one of the biggest goons, going when he played. And goons,
but don't you understand? Word. But Brent, he's Princeton, he's Ivy League educated.
I do. Yeah, it is kind of funny actually. He's an Ivy League guy, and he made all his money playing the NHL with his fists, basically. So whatever.
Stu Grimson made his living with fists, and he's a lawyer in Nashville now. So good for him.
He was mean. Oh, Grimson was a mean player. I remember him back in the Western Hockey League back in the day, back in the 80s. Oh, he would. Wow, yeah. It's always hockey was a lot different back then.
It's always the guys you least expect to be like the most successful and the smartest.
Ryan, would you say that Grimson is the real heavy hitter in the lawyer department?
Wow.
I had to do it.
Wow.
That's a local joke. If you live in the capital region, you'll get that one.
Just look up Martin and was it
it's Harding and Mazzotti now.
Yeah,
but it used to be Martin Harding and Mazzotti.
Yeah, but they also bought the naming rights to what was the Glens Falls Civic Center. It's now known as the Harding and Mazzotti Arena. It was Cool Insuring, but now it's that. A couple more comments before we get out of here. Kevin's saying, I agree with Ryan in terms of baseball about the United States being caught up and then surpassing baseball. He says, I agree with Ryan. After all, Japan is the defending World Baseball Classic champions. Yeah, they are. James saying, Gudas doing a Brian Marchment impression is not the smartest idea. Whoa, that's a name. Bring back Brian Marchment. My goodness. Kevin wants to know, Dustin, how do Edmonton go from the Stanley Cup final to only 2 teams giving up more goals than they have?
It's been a problem. It's been a problem, and I think Kevin's saying that because I told him on Seahawks Sessions that if the Dallas Stars win the Cup, I will order him a shirt that says shooting for the Stars. And so he probably wants that shirt.
well, also Dallas just beat Edmonton the other night 7-2. It was 5-0 at the end of the second period. So
yes, I was hoping I didn't have to remember that.
And to answer your question about the goalie situation, Dustin, Jason Greger from the Daily Faceoff, he says for those asking, the Oilers can't send Tristan Jarry to the minors for Calvin Pickard. Only players who are on the AHL roster before the trade deadline are eligible to be sent down to the AHL after the trade deadline. Edmonton can recall Pickard, but would have to send a skater down to make room and carry 3 goalies.
I'm a sad panda.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
Eventually, you can't outscore your problems, and that's what
you can't.
Right?
Nope.
Just like you can't outwork your diet, you can't outscore your problems in the NHL. And in baseball too. James saying kudos to the agent for using the word preposterous. Actually, I do have one quick thing before we get out of here. I'm looking at the standings in the NHL, and I have to ask the both of you, Dustin in particular, because his team's in this division. Who wants to win the Pacific?
I don't know. That division. It's bad. It's bad out there. Part of me is like, come on, put the Kraken in there. Let them do it. Hey,
they're only 2 points out of a playoff spot right now.
I know.
Yeah, it's crazy that there's so many teams still involved in this point in the season. Nobody wants to go on a little bit of run. I think Edmonton's only won 3 games in a row twice this season. And nobody wants to do anything. Everybody wrote LA off a while ago, and then they made a couple of deals, and they're still hovering around somehow, and they've been awful. And I mean, you talk about the Pacific, like Vegas is supposed to be this wagon again, and they're just not. They're just not very good. Eventually, someone has to take control. But yeah, I don't know. It's a strange season out here for sure.
And speaking of Vegas, I think I mentioned this on our show over the past couple of weeks, but I saw something on social media that says, forget about Groundhog Day. Mark Stone going on IR is a true indicator that spring is on. Spring is on its way. Yeah, oh, man. I mean, the Pacific's going to be wild to find out who's going to be who's going to win it and who's going to be in the top three. It's just it's a crab pot right now to see who crawls out. It's but the one division I have my eye on this year for Stanley Cup participant, it's the Atlantic Conference. It's the Atlantic Division, because I don't know if Buffalo peaked a year early or everything just starting to finally work out. Tampa's struggling. Montreal is kind of hovering. I thought they needed some goaltender help with the trade deadline, but unfortunately weren't able to get it. Detroit is is doing well, and so is Boston. But I think for my money, if I'm a betting man, I don't bet very often. I think the Eastern Conference participant in the Stanley Cup Final is going to come from the Atlantic Division again. Yeah,
I agree.
And it's not Florida.
Yeah, so certainly not the Panthers are.
But you can see for the 7th year in a row, possibly for the 7th year in a row, we have the Eastern Conference participant from being a Florida team. I mean, that's just how good that division is.
Yeah, they're really good for sure.
Yeah,
I'm just happy the Ontario teams.
I'm just happy I don't have to root for a Kachuk anymore, so I'm happy about that.
Yeah, they're a little unlikable, but yeah, they're a lot unlikable actually. But
they are who they are.
Yeah, but I already called it.
Sure.
I already called it, Ryan. It's going to be Tampa Bay. I called it because they acquired Corey Perry. He's going to keep the streak going.
He's going.
Yeah.
True.
I'm surprised the Vegas Golden Knights didn't acquire him to beat the Oilers finally.
Yeah, who knows?
I don't know. All right, we're going to get out of here, but before we do that, we're going to give Brent the floor, let you know where you can find him and his stuff. So, Brent, take it away.
The 1420 Sports Bar Podcast, 4 Beer Sports Talk, and a whole lot more. Obviously on YouTube podcast, wherever you get your podcasts. Yeah, a lot of just some good old sports bar chat, sitting around BSing with your friends. So a lot of fun. We get on it a couple times a week, and then the wife joins me every other Monday for the voice of reason, because that's what she apparently tells me she is. So that's what we got going on around here.
All right. Well, thanks, Brent. Appreciate you coming by and being a part of our show this Saturday. Before we get out of here, though, just want to remind the people to follow us on social media: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Twitch, YouTube. Just search for No Credentials Required or at NoCreds.REQ. You can also find other podcasts like Brent's podcast and our written articles at bellyupsports.com. Subscribe to the podcast on platforms such as Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Spreaker, Amazon Music, iHeart, TuneIn, Pandora, and our host, Podbean, where you can find freshly brewed podcasts. And hit that notification bell on Twitter and on YouTube so you know when shows go live, when shows are, when we have announcements about the show, and when we have just clips from the show that go up. Thanks for joining us on this edition of No Credentials Required, where you don't need a press pass to talk sports. We'll be back on Monday night. Excuse me. We'll be talking about the World Baseball Classic again, and also other stuff going on in the NFL and other sports too. But we are proudly presented by Belly Up Sports. For Brent, for Dustin, I'm Ryan. We'll talk to you again Monday night. Hopefully we'll have a special guest then as well. But in the meantime, enjoy the rest of your weekend. Be safe. We hope to see you on Monday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern.
Good morning, everybody.